welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thanks for joining me. I'll be your astrologer today. I hope you guys are doing well and you're enjoying your week. I'm back at it with yet another video, and this is going to be a part of my Looking Forward series as we start looking at the outer planet transits into new signs. Today we're going to be previewing Uranus and Gemini. If you guys like my content, you want to see more of it, make sure you click the subscribe button below. Make sure you click the bell button so you're alerted as to when we have new videos. We're here every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday trying to make sense of what's going on in the cosmos. Make sure you guys give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Consider sharing it on your social media with other Astro fans, and leave me a comment and let me know, where is Uranus going to be transiting in your natal chart? Are you having a Uranus opposition? Is it your Uranus return? If you're old enough to be experiencing that, I would love to hear more from you guys, and where this transit is taking place in your chart and where you're breaking free. Now, we're not going to see this transit taking place until July of 2025, so we've got some time, but we are going to start seeing themes in regards to this transit coming up here pretty soon in the next couple of months. So buckle up, because obviously we know 2025 is a game changer. If you guys haven't already seen my previewing Saturn and Neptune in Aries, definitely check that out. A very important piece of the puzzle, as Pluto in Aquarius, Saturn and Neptune in Aries, and Uranus and Gemini will all be aspecting one another. So there is definitely a lot of communication between these outer planets, which means big changes on the horizon. Now, I'm expecting this to be a game changer for a number of reasons. I think that since Uranus is the planet of change and rebellion, we are likely going to see this more in terms of communication, media, as well as our thought process. So some of us might feel like some of the things that are happening are mind-blowing, and I'm looking forward to when this takes place. So we're going to see Uranus entering into the sign of Gemini on July the 7th, 2025. So like I said, a little bit of time, but we're going to be kind of taking a look at this today and breaking down what this might be bringing up for the collective. And honestly, tackling Uranus is definitely a bit of a wild ride, that's for sure. It's not a planet that likes to be kind of put in the box right when you think it's going to zig, it zags. And I'd like to talk to you guys a little bit about what industries this is impacting. We're going to talk a little bit about the history of when we saw Uranus in this sign in the past. And obviously, I'll be talking about how this will be impacting the 12 rising signs. So if you stay tuned to the end, I'll give you some insight for what this means for you. Now, let's talk a little bit about what Uranus represents in astrology, right? Obviously, it's electrifying. So we're going to see things that are due to or connected to energy. Also, in the sign of Gemini, which is Mercury ruled, and it's an air sign, it's going to be about what's shocking or what's being electrified in the air, whether that's airwaves, if that's our atmosphere. Also, this is a sign that deals with movement, transportation, and learning. So Uranus in a nutshell is the wild card, okay? In recent years, the last 6 or 7 years, we've seen Uranus in the sign of Taurus. So it's been shaking up things in regards to Taurus stuff. Banking, crypto, NFTs, finance, all that stuff has definitely been shifting, as well as innovations in food, as well as farming. So this go round, we're going to see the planet really being about innovation, upheaval, and freedom when it comes to the mind as well as communication. It's traditionally associated with Aquarius. So I think that when we think about modern day astrology, Uranus is connected to this sign. It is about kind of being unusual and different and future thinking. And it's all about breaking the rules. Obviously, you know, smashing ceilings and sparking genius. So it's interesting that there's also this connection to Aquarius that's associated with Saturn. So through the mythological kind of connection between Uranus and Saturn, we see like a clash of the Titans. And Saturn has been known for building walls, right? So if you think back to what happened with Saturn and Aquarius, the squares that we were seeing between Saturn and Aquarius and Uranus and Taurus brought up a lot of friction. But something that I think is positive during this transit is that we're going to see Uranus making sextiles to Saturn as well as Neptune. So what does this mean? Well, I think that Uranus tears down walls, okay? So whatever walls that have been torn down or broken down in recent years, now we're going to be seeing it harmonizing with these new standards, these new goals, these new initiations that are coming through Saturn and Neptune in Aries. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Nothing is easy with Uranus. Obviously, it brings sudden change and also quirky ideas. But I really love like the aha moments that I think are going to be coming from Uranus and Gemini. Yes, it's going to feel like it's turning some things upside down, but it's a rebel with a cause. It's here to wake us up whether we like it or not. Now, from July 7th, 2025 until November 8th, 2025, we're going to see Uranus in Gemini. And in many ways, 2025 almost feels like a trailer or a sneak peek for what we're going to ultimately be seeing in 2026 when Uranus fully moves to stay in Gemini, when Saturn and Neptune fully move to stay in Aries. So we're going to be watching this period of a couple of months while Uranus is in Gemini, kind of seeing what it opens up, what it unravels before it retrogrades back to Taurus to finish something up. Now, due to the retrograde, it'll be fully settled in Gemini in May of 2026. So around May 31st, 2026 until July 8th, 2032 will be the Uranus in Gemini period. That means it's going to be 7 years of mental mayhem, but also brilliance. So you guys are definitely going to want to be marking your calendars for these periods. Now, when we look at the Greek mythology connection to Uranus, obviously Uranus was seen as the sky god. He was primordial, unpredictable, and also a little chaotic. He fathered the Titans with Gaia and also Earth. And, this is kind of seen as a mythological being that really hated his children, right? He didn't get on with them very well, so much that he shoved them back into the womb. Talk about family drama. But his son Saturn castrated him, and this sparked some kind of cosmic revolt. So throughout this revolt, we saw that there was a lot of drama. Obviously, Uranus is going to kind of embody this untamed revolutionary spirit. It's very raw. It's also unshackled, and it's about being ready to rewrite the rules. So I use this reference because we saw the clash of the Titans a couple of years ago. And so now that we're seeing, Uranus kind of break free after that Uranus-Saturn square cycle, now it's going to be about new opportunities to think freely, to speak out, to move, to learn. And we're going to see that through some of the challenges that we saw in recent years with the squares. Now we have the opportunity to kind of spark something new. Now, like I said, Uranus in Gemini is strongly going to be connected to mercurial themes. And this is because Gemini is associated with Mercury. This is the sign of communication, ideas, duality, as well as fast, curious communication, endless chatter. And I think when we pair this with Uranus, you've got like a lightning storm that's going on in the mind. Now, collectively, I expect that this is going to be like a rewiring of how we think, talk, as well as connect. So we're going to see that information is going to be moving at warp speed. Think like AI breakthroughs, viral media shifts, and even a global truth uprising is likely to kind of come about from this transit. But it's not all necessarily chaotic. I think that this can be for good reason, even though we're going to have to kind of combat themes like misinformation, mental overload, and tech glitches that are likely going to spark some kind of chaos as well. Now, individually, I feel like this is all about our brains being due for like an upgrade. We're going to see new perspectives that are going to be hitting us like thunderbolts and sudden, changes revolving around how we learn, how we're communicating. And I think we're going to be ditching old scripts. So flexibility is a huge theme when we think about Gemini, but so is focus. And I think because Gemini is kind of scattered, we're going to be kind of left a little frazzled if we don't ground this energy appropriately. Now, for collective themes or big themes, obviously communication revolutions are going to be a big one. So social media might fracture or evolve wildly. Gemini rules things that you can hold in your hand. So think like all of the apps on your phone. It's also going to be connected to communications, text, emails, phone calls. All of that stuff is going to evolve. We'll also see tech leaps. So think like quantum computing and new mind-blowing apps that are going to appear on the market. Like I said, education changes, but I feel like this is going to be major education flips. And I anticipate we're going to see a lot of people that are going to be actually learning online. This is going to be a huge, I think, explosion when it comes to like homeschooling and continuing education and higher degrees as well. But with that being said, that will mean some traditional systems will crash. Some old apps will be outdated. They will no longer be able to compete with like this boom that's going on with all of this innovation. Now, weather is a huge theme as well with Uranus and Gemini. We do see major weather events, especially connected to air. So tornadoes, major winds, things kind of connected also to firestorms, as Uranus is known as being the planet that's associated with, fire starting. So we can see that things can kind of pick up like wildfire. Uranus loves anything extreme. So these storms are likely going to be erratic storms and things that can be kind of wild, driven chaos. For politics, I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of like populist voices that are going to be speaking out, debates that will go completely rogue, and grassroots uprising. Gemini's duality might also showcase a lot more polarizing ideas and also just battling it out and going back and forth and trying to debate, two sides of a topic, which could be uniting in unexpected ways. Now, the last time that we saw Uranus in Gemini, this was in the 1940s, from 1941 to 1949. Obviously, the world went a bit haywire then. This was when World War II was raging. We saw, propaganda all over the place in media, in newspapers, in radio. Obviously, a Gemini staple. So tech boomed. I think also we saw themes revolving around radar. Early computers were developed, and also the atomic bomb changed everything. I've speculated for some time that this may have a major impact on newspapers, blogs, magazines, as well as radio, and we may see that radio makes a revival, and there may be some TV networks or media networks that go bust. We might also see a complete move from some stations to go to complete streaming networks. I think it's kind of inevitable that that's going to happen for a lot of things, but I think there's going to be a lot more independent media that's going to be coming out as well. Now, for politics, with Uranus in the sign, we have seen traditionally that there has been revolutions and resistance. So think like D-Day and post-World War independent movements. Uranus is in Gemini, so that's going to be the United States Uranus return that we're going to see during this period, which every single time we've had the return so far, it corresponded with World War II, and then prior to that was also the United States Revolution. So there is definitely going to be a come to Jesus moment revolving around the United States, and whether we're at war with each other, whether we're at war with media, and also it's going to totally shake up and reevaluate some of our allies and our relationships with other countries. Now, for science, because Uranus does have an association with technology and science, this is when we saw developments with penicillin being scaled up, which obviously saved millions of lives. That antibiotic has been used in medicine now for decades. Obviously, it was a little chaotic with some of the stuff that was going on with science as well, but a lot of developments that were connected to the mind, also like brain mapping, things also connected to lungs and breathing were huge themes during these particular transits because of the association with Gemini. Now, for what's coming in the future, right, we're going to fast forward now. We're going to look at 2025 to 2032 in a nutshell. Obviously, tech, okay? So we've seen in recent years this development of AI, ChatGPT, quantum computing, all of these chips that are getting smaller and they're also getting faster. I think AI is essentially going to start mimicking human thoughts, and I think it's going to be really freaky. In a lot of ways, we're already doing it. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but like maybe you're thinking about something. Certainly, if you're talking about something, you're going to see ads for it popping up on your phone. But I'm talking more thinking about stuff, and it's going to be about data and analytics and kind of seeing what people are searching for. It's going to be taking information on what people are talking about, and it's going to be able to kind of start generating and connecting and communicating with humans in a way that's more real. So we might see a lot more developments in AI robots and anything that's going to be like about companionship, or also being able to help people when it comes to learning or writing. So think like education aids and things that are going to be like a digital kind of landscape. We're also going to possibly be seeing lots of shifts revolving around, like this global tug of war. And we're going to see that this war is between what is true and what is just noise. Brain-computer interfaces, I think, are going to be huge themes. We're also going to be seeing a major focus on anything revolving around new revolutionary ways of thinking, and also where there's going to be more kind of community grassroots work, people connecting with their community more, focusing more on what's going on in their local kind of space rather than what's going to be going on a state or a country basis. And we can definitely see radical change going on with neighborhoods. Diversity in neighborhoods can definitely be a theme as well. Obviously, Gemini has associations also with transportation. So cars and trains in particular, yes, things in the air, but more cars, trains, public transit, maybe anything to do with like subways. We're going to see major developments in transportation in our local environments as well. Some have speculated throughout this transit, it is possible that we might see flying cars. So I definitely think that that's a big maybe. I have a hunch that we're going to see major changes with the post office because Gemini is about mail and communication. So we're going to see maybe upgrades to how we are sending and receiving mail or packages. So I'm anticipating more like drone drops. Maybe there's going to be, you know, faster ways of being able to connect and communicate even faster than email or instant messaging that we have, or upgrades to those particular types of programs. Now I'm expecting new innovative media for sure, and magazines, you betcha. So we might see the fall of certain magazines and also certain newspapers, but I think that there's going to be kind of this revamping and reimagining also of media. So it might be something, I always think of like Harry Potter, you know, like remember in Harry Potter when they're opening up like the newspapers and everything's like moving? I'm wondering if there's going to be something where people are going to have something tangible, but you're going to be able to get a digital instant download of the latest, you know, like newspaper that you can read and stuff that's like interactive, more than just the interface of what you would read on your phone or on your computer. That's just me thinking out loud. But I do think that we are going to see also lots of people who are going to be starting their own media, lots of people who are going to be starting their own newspapers and blogs, and that this is going to become a really big trend. As can anything revolving around education. So people who are going to want to be starting education channels where they're going to want to be teaching language or working with younger people. As Gemini is connected with like elementary school, so there's going to be a huge shift in reworking when it comes to pretty much like the first, 8 years or the first 8 grades of education. I guess 9 if you consider kindergarten, and that's going to be revamped as well. And so I think we'll see a major revival and like return to people who are really focusing on being able to maybe teach their kids in a different way. Maybe it's going to be teaching them from home. Maybe there's going to be more like pods that are going to be going on, or like kind of like neighborhood meetups where you're going to see that there are smaller kind of pods of homeschooled children. I know some of this stuff is already happening, but you're definitely going to see it. So the industries that are ruled by Gemini, other than media and communications, which obviously journalism, broadcasting, radio, podcasting, all of that stuff, we're also going to see writing and publishing. So think books, think also blogs, editing, as well as copywriting. That's all going to be kind of connected to Gemini. So we're going to see probably new softwares and developments and apps that are going to help people do these things. And when I say technology and innovations with like communication and telecommunications, I'm also talking about internet. Okay, so new internet that might be emerging, especially as Uranus is kind of syncing up with a trine to Pluto. We're also going to be seeing new software development, phone networks, and tech startups that are just rapidly developing very quickly. Now, education and learning is going to go for a shift, and this isn't just limited to online learning and courses. This is also going to be tutoring as well as libraries. So we might be seeing libraries and bookstores making a comeback. I heard a little bit about this with Barnes & Noble, I guess because Barnes & Noble has been like on a kick on TikTok. There was like a bunch of new Barnes & Noble stores that I guess are going to be opening or reopening. So we might see fads and things kind of connected to education and books that are going to make a revival. Think also when I say transportation, like I said, short distance travel. So trains and buses, delivery service, as well as carrier companies. So we're probably going to see some kind of shift from people who are delivering things on bikes or across town, moving to something that's going to be air drop off or delivery. We might also see apps that are going to be, really kind of showcasing other ways to have transportation. I saw that Uber, I think, is kind of playing with this right now, seeing if it's possible to be able to order like a helicopter pickup or drop off. But that would definitely be very Uranus in Gemini. And then obviously for entertainment and arts, because this isn't a sign that's about mental focus, I think we're going to see new developments in new comedians that are on the rise, as well as improv, script writing, and trivia-based games and game shows and TV, I think is also going to be very significant, because Gemini energy is very witty and it's very playful, and like that's how it thrives. Now, the kinds of people and jobs that are connected to Gemini, there is a ton. As you guys know, Gemini in the third house is like the junk drawer of astrology. It kind of has a little bit of everything. But I think this is going to be impacting communicators in general. So journalists, reporters, bloggers, podcasters, TV hosts, anybody who is entertaining the masses with words, you're going to see a major change here. There's going to be major shifts where there's going to be new people that are going to be kind of coming online and coming on the forefront. But also authors, poets, researchers, people who craft their ideas into language, that's going to be a big one. Teachers, tutors, trainers, also techies and innovators. So if you're a coder, if you're an IT specialist, an app developer, these people are going to be on the rise, as will these jobs, because it's about folks who connect the world digitally. Now, also travelers and connectors, okay? Because Gemini is about movement. So pilots, flight attendants, as well as Uber drivers, people who keep goods on the move, and also people who are traveling and delivering by car. So I think we're going to see a major uptick in EV vehicles. I think we're going to see a major uptick also in like EV transportation with major goods. So think like electric semis and, anything that's going to be moving much more quickly as well as efficiently. But Gemini is also known for salespeople and negotiators. So if you're like a marketer, or maybe you're a car sales rep, maybe you're a real estate agent, these are people who master pitch and hustle. So there could be new updates and innovations for them as well. And anybody who is considered a multitasker or a jack of all trades. So if you're like an event planner, an administrator, maybe you're a freelancer, these are people who are very flexible and adaptable because they can juggle more than one thing. So you might be doing really well with that as well. And like I said, entertainers, especially anybody who is going to be doing like improv work or anything that's connecting to information or trivia. So I definitely think like IT jobs are going to be on the rise, anything revolving around obviously AI, but also like data and any analysts I think are also going to be really significant for kind of, having jobs in the market. So remember that when we're talking about Gemini's signature, right, just in general, this means that the masses, Uranus, are really opening up to being more curious and inquisitive. So this is going to be really encouraging us to keep an open mind and ask questions, dig for info. And this is also about maybe being a little bit more chatty with our neighbors, maybe going back to block parties and kind of hanging out and getting to know people who are living near us. This is also encouraging us to be adaptable and quick. Especially with sextiles to Saturn and Neptune in Aries, air fuels fire. So this is really about learning to thrive in a much more fast-paced role, switching gears effortlessly, and it's also about like being able to kind of multitask. So it's about being able to kind of banter while we're working, or being able to do a little bit more of a back and forth. Now, Gemini is also a social sign. It's an air sign, so it really loves connecting with people, and I think that this is going to be about maybe finding new networks. Maybe there's going to be new websites and things that are going to be specifically geared towards networking. I also think that we're going to see a lot more sites that are going to be popping up that are going to be like new updated version of like LinkedIn. So that might be cool for people who are trying to kind of connect and find work. But I think what I'm really looking forward to the most is that Gemini energy is youthful. It's very playful. It's drawn to things that are going to be more variety based and kind of fun. So I think it's going to help a lot of us kind of get our curiosity and our sense of humor back. I think it's going to help us brainstorm and also kind of keep an open mind. So this is like an early look. As we get closer to July of 2025, we will definitely do another deep dive as we see planets that are kind of going through there. But something that I just wanted to kind of note, looking at the ingress chart, is that when Uranus moves into Gemini, we're going to see it moving side by side with Venus. So the beginning of July, you're going to see Uranus and Venus kind of meeting at the late degrees of Taurus, and then there's going to be a bump into this particular sign. So it is kind of indicating that there's major fluctuations and changes that's going to be happening with money, with love, with relationships. It's also encouraging us, I think, to learn how to communicate and share and express what we love and what we value. Now, at the same time, you're going to see, like I said, the sextiles between Saturn and Aries, which is kind of redefining things for all of us individually, new goals, entrepreneurs, being more proactive, and also just getting out there and starting something new. And then Neptune, which is kind of leading the way with this transit, and it's really about believing in a dream and dreams needing to take action and individuals waking up to their potential. So if you're somebody who's like, hey, I have always wanted to start a YouTube channel, okay, it's a lot of work, I gotta tell you, but if you've always wanted to do that, or you've always wanted to have a blog or a podcast, maybe you want to create your own app, maybe you've always wanted to learn a language, maybe you've always wanted to publish a book, right? Anything like that. Like, this is a really wonderful energy for that, because if we're willing to take the initiative, likely we are going to love the change that's coming in. Now, interestingly enough, Mercury will be the dispositor. So now we're not only looking at Mercury for Uranus in Gemini, but also for the South Node in Virgo. So you're kind of the Mercury transits are going to get a little hairy here for like the next year or two. But interesting stuff. I mean, I think that, that connection to Mercury being at an 11, which is an Aquarian Uranian degree, is saying that this is going to basically be kicking off a whole bunch of new, I think, movements for artists, right? For entertainers, for dancers, for painters, for creators. I think it's also going to be really big for people who are in the music or movie industry. I think we're going to see a lot of new people that are going to be breaking out that can do more than one thing. So you might see a lot more actors that are like, well, I'm starring in the role, but I also wrote it. Maybe I'm not just producing it, but I wrote it. Maybe we're going to see a lot of people who are going to be writing and putting together their own books that could then be like a film adaptation, right? That's the other way I would look at it. I think this is also basically going to say that there's going to be a lot of new podcasters, okay? A lot of new podcasters, a lot of new writers, and people who are going to be recognized for their unusual or their different talents out in the world. Well, we've got some nice aspects. I mean, it is trining stuff that's going on in Aries. So if you can dream it, you can make it happen. We're also seeing that Mercury is in opposition to Pluto. So Mercury is saying, like, actually, I'm moving away from following the crowd, right? I don't want to be like other people. I want to be different. I don't want to be a part of a group or a panel. I want to do me. So for people who have been wanting to kind of break away from, feeling like they have to identify with their particular group or an association, maybe they've been working or collaborating with other people and now it's time to go their own way. This might open up the door for you to have a separate business, a side hustle, a hobby, a project, something that you love that could be your own thing. And I think that this is going to be really cool. I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens. I think the fire trine that's going to be kind of happening at the time of this is also interesting. As the moon is saying, it's going to be really good for publishing, traveling, teaching, or anything to do with culture. Now, obviously, the moon in opposition to Uranus is saying that this day, likely something can happen that is shocking and surprising. This is where we're more optimistic about some of the events, and Uranus is throwing us the curveball. So the moon will come into opposition with Uranus as well as Venus, all kind of connected to Mercury. So to me, this is also saying new developments that are going to be happening in travel, new developments that are going to be happening in technology, or media that can also be having an impact on the markets. And just shortly after this particular ingress, we're going to see a couple days later, Mercury is going to turn retrograde in Leo. So it's already in shadow, okay, around the 7th when it goes into that sign, and then it's going to turn retrograde. And when it turns retrograde, it's going to come back to that 11 degrees right here on July 28th, 2025. So later in the month after Uranus moves, Then we're going to see this conjunction between the Sun and Mercury. And it's bringing up more of the themes of what happened earlier in the month. And obviously the Sun's at home in its own sign. And we're going to see that cazimi happening right around here. When I tie it all together, Mercury with the South Node, we're also going to see Mercury connected to Uranus. I feel like there is a huge shift that's going to happen this summer. I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be like, you know what, I am now, quitting my job, or I'm walking away from something, I'm retiring, I'm making more time also for things that I love or creative projects. I'm feeling incentivized to get back out there, play, create, date. Obviously, it's a big sign for romance. And I think just the Venus-Uranus conjunction at the kickoff is that. Maybe there's going to be new media networks and stuff that are going to be coming out that are going to be offering, new monetization and for making it easier for people to get monetized if they want to be able to write or create content or create videos. And so I think you're going to see a lot of people who are going to go, well, I know how to do that. Especially with Saturn and Neptune in Aries, this is going to be people who can bring structure to art or structure to music. So think, okay, maybe you've played guitar your whole life, you're trying to make some extra money. There's maybe an app, or there's going to be some websites that are going to be out there that could literally pay you to create courses, literally pay you to teach people, digitally how to play the guitar. Maybe you're a retired teacher, you want to make some extra money and you'd like to do some tutoring. Well, maybe there's going to be an app for that. I think we're going to see a lot of people who are also going to say, well, there are things that my local community needs. Leo things. So it's going to be theater, art, bars, also anything for children. So child care, education. I think there's going to be a lot of businesses that are going to be aimed towards youth and youth programs as well as entertainment. You're going to see a lot of people go, I can do that. I can make that happen. I'm going to do it here in my community. Why is all of this happening though? That's the real question. Why are people going to become so community consumed? Well, that's Gemini. But because Saturn and Neptune are in Aries, we are going to see that over the next couple of months, because there's going to be major changes with economic growth, there's going to be a lot of changes also with trade. We are going to see all of these tariffs coming through, and you're going to see the return of Trump's trade wars. It will isolate and cut some countries off from the world because we're moving away from globalism. We're moving more towards nationalism. We're going to see that there's going to be more of a focus in the countries that we live in. Now, that doesn't mean we're still not going to trade with countries. We're just probably not going to have as many products. Maybe we're going to notice that there's shortages or it's difficult to get certain things. So people are going to have to get creative. They're going to have to get crafty. And the month of July is the time where there is this reckoning, not only with all of the stuff that's going on in Gemini and Leo, but Mars will be conjuncting the South Node. And it's going to be reactivating the eclipse that we have in March, where I think it's going to be like a part 2, where we're going to see a lot of people have layoffs. A lot of people are going to lose their job, quit their job, change their job. Something's going to be happening. And this might sound scary, but it's not. It's actually maybe because of updates and innovations in technology that it's freeing up a lot of jobs. We're going to see a lot of people who were maybe doing data entry, or they were doing communications, or they were doing things that were kind of manual inputting of information, that now we've got all of these new systems. We're going to have better computing, faster internet, more solutions, that we're going to have more time to do the things that we want to do. So we're maybe not going to be feeling like we have to be, driving around on the freeway, commuting back and forth to work. We're going to see more automated vehicles, so people can go, wow, okay, I'm commuting an hour each way. I get in this automated vehicle, or I get in this high-speed train, or I'm, finding a new way to commute where I'm hands-free, right? I'm freeing myself, Uranus, of having to have my hands on something. I can now finish writing my book an hour a day each way. I can now, continue listening to that podcast that I want to listen to. I can be brainstorming. I can be drawing. It's going to give us so much more time to have leisure, to have playtime. And so I'm not as afraid of it as most people. I think that eventually, down the road, after we see this transit, for all we know, we might have robots in our homes that are literally folding our clothes. Maybe they're walking the dog. Maybe they're cleaning the house. They're doing things that's freeing up stuff that we would have to be doing, that's now going to make it easier for us to be able to have, I think, a little bit more free time. Maybe I'm optimistic about it, but I do feel like this is definitely going to be a really big part of this ongoing sextile that we see between all of these planets. And eventually, as we get into 2026, Uranus trine Pluto, where major innovations of the mind, communication, and technology is radically changing the collective. Anyway, that's just my hot take. I'd love to hear what you guys think about some of these transits. I do want to run through this really quick and just show all of you where Uranus in Gemini is going to be moving through for the 12 rising signs. Now, I am a Western astrologer. I practice Western astrology. I'm not Vedic, and I am going to be showing this to you guys from the perspective of the whole sign method. Now, you can use Placidus if you would like to. I believe we're going to see Uranus get up to about 2 degrees, I think, this year, so it's not going to move too much further beyond that. You could very easily just use your whole sign rising sign and listen to this and see how it's impacting you. I do recommend not only looking at the house of Gemini, but I also recommend looking at the house of Aquarius, because Uranus is associated with that house. So there is a connection between that house and where it's going to be moving in your chart. Now, for who this is going to be impacting the most, obviously, if you're a Gemini sun, moon, or rising, 0 to about 3 degrees, you're feeling the effects of this, as Uranus is going to be making conjunctions to those parts of your chart. Equally, if you have planets in the last 5 degrees of Taurus, 25 to 29 degrees, Uranus will retrograde back to your sign. So you're still feeling the effects of that. You're going to be feeling it in 2025 into 2026. And if you're an Aquarius rising, okay, Uranus is one of your chart rulers. So when your chart ruler changes signs, it's definitely going to be impacting you. But I got to tell you, I think you guys are going to like that transit as it goes into your 5th house. All right, so let's start with my Aries and my Aries risings. Let's see what surprises are in store for you. Well, as always, you guys might resonate with a lot of the things that I'm saying as I'm kind of looking at this from the perspective of Aries rising. So Uranus is going to be moving into Gemini in your natal 3rd house, okay? And Uranus deals with networks, your goals, your friends, parties, associations, community. So as Uranus moves into your 3rd house, something that you have working in your favor is the sextile to Saturn and Neptune in your sign. So the more you get serious about your goals, about your dreams, the more you can make magic happen with Uranus in your 3rd house. Well, this is going to be about, obviously, communication and learning. This can be about sporadic writing. This could be about sporadic traveling. You could be getting a new car. There could also be lots of changes with your siblings or with your neighborhood. But I'm predicting that there could be sudden sparks of ideas, and likely you'll be writing, you'll be speaking, or traveling impulsively. Now, there can be some sibling drama that can flare up, so watch for that. But I feel like the best way to navigate this transit is, channel the chaos. I think we all want to channel the chaos, and I think you can with Saturn in a sextile. I think this is going to be more about starting a podcast, learning a new language. Maybe it's going to be about, planning more sporadic kind of travels and trips. I think that this is just really about double and triple checking your information, right? And it's also going to be about making sure that your goals and your hopes and dreams for the future are lining up with what you're saying, lining up with what you're actually putting out into the world verbally, what you're saying, what you're writing, what you're thinking. Certainly if you have an audience, right, 11th house, that means that you might say, well, I'm going to diversify. I'm going to go on another platform. Maybe you've been focusing on, I'm only on Twitter. Now you're going to go on to another platform that's going to come on. So you might have more than one, and you're going to double down so that way you're getting more traction, more visibility. And I think it's actually going to be really fun for you guys. You just have to be mindful of what comes out of your mouth, basically, with this transit. All right, Aries, good luck. We've got Taurus and Taurus rising. What's up, Taurus? You're going to be experiencing Uranus entering into the sign of Gemini in your natal 2nd house. All right, well, the 2nd house is it feels personal, right? Because you're a Taurus rising. So anything associated with your money, your resources, your self-esteem is pretty significant. And that's really where Uranus is going to be shaking things up. So there can definitely be lots of ups and downs going on with Uranus in the 2nd house. And as you know, Uranus is associated with your 10th house of career, reputation, work, and your professional life. So Uranus going into this part of your chart, I think is definitely going to be creating a sense of either duality in your income. Like there might be a sudden unexpected second line of income that comes in. It can be also kind of flipping your money on its head, or on its side, I guess. You might be getting into crypto, and you might also find that some of your hustles are really booming, but there's going to be periods where things are going to kind of go up and down. It can be unpredictable. I would recommend experimenting with your cash flow, but don't bet the house on, just anything. I think a lot of Tauruses are going to go, well, I want to get into a new industry. And that industry might be relating to writing, information media, tech, science, anything that's like future related. So it is possible that you're wanting to make money this way, or you think that it's possible and that it could totally transform something about your career. But it's not going to be stable or consistent right off the bat. That's the one thing that I'm going to tell you. But do be open to new ways of making money. I also feel like this is going to be about you looking at money very different, and maybe you're going to be kind of playing with other investments or other things that you can be possessing that can definitely give you a little bit more stability throughout the transit. Good luck. We've got Gemini and Gemini rising. You guys ready for this? Talk to a Taurus, they'll tell you all about it. Obviously, this is personal for you, Gemini, as you're going to be having Uranus entering into your sign. In recent years, it's been kind of hovering in your 12th house where you have felt this like burning, I think like, intense, unexpected kind of chaos that's like brewing, but it hasn't really kind of broken the surface, but it's about to break out. So Uranus is connected to your 9th house, which is about culture, philosophy, higher education, foreign travel, publishing, legal matters, and anything in regards to, I think, like good karma. I think this is where positive things in your life kind of just opens up a little bit. Uranus on the ascendant is an interesting transit. Definitely, you're going to feel like a lightning rod. Like there is like this sense of you going, okay, I'm impatient, I want to make a change. It could mean that you want to reinvent yourself overnight. It's very eccentric, and I think that you might kind of feel like you're just, you know what, I just got to travel. You're getting impulse to travel, you're wanting to learn, you're wanting to share with people. And I think that this is also going to be about like flying your freak flag. That's what the transit's about. It's about kind of embracing the more unconventional side of you and being able to share that with other people. The fact that the ingress is going to happen with Venus on your ascendant, I feel like this is about you breaking free from old patterns of where you have felt restricted in how you can dress, how you can, kind of style yourself, maybe breaking free of relationship challenges and habits as well. And I do think that this is going to be a beautiful transit for you guys because it's going to give you the opportunity to have the freedom that you've been seeking. Obviously, with aspects to Saturn and Neptune, this is going to be more about being with new community, being with new friends. I think it's also going to be about starting groups and joining groups where you feel like you can be your most authentic self. So enjoy that transit. Definitely let me know. Watch the caffeine and anything that's like stimulants during that transit because you're going to feel like you stuck your finger like in a wall plug. You're just kind of like frazzled. Anyway, good luck. We've got Cancer and Cancer rising. You guys are going to be experiencing Uranus entering into Gemini in your natal 12th house, and Uranus is connected to your 8th house. So for you guys, it's more, for the water signs in general, this is happening in houses that deal with emotions, conclusions, completions, and also endings, and it's about kind of healing. So Uranus in the 12th house, you're not going to see something immediately because the 12th house is kind of hidden. So this is going to deal more with dreams. I have found people who have Uranus transits in the 12th house or they have it there natally. There is like precognitive dreams. They feel like there is something stirring, when they're sleeping. There's like energies and stuff that are kind of waking them up or they're more sensitive to frequencies. This could also mean that your intuition is on high alert. I do predict that, dreams can be significant. You can have, major mental breakthroughs, but also there can be breakdowns that can hit. And the 12th house is private spaces. So it's like, temples, churches, institutions, prisons, so it's like I could see a lot of Cancer and Cancer risings if they're kind of dealing with some mental health challenges. This is going to be like where it's all going to like break out. But frequency healing, therapy, right? Anything in regards to talk therapy, especially as Uranus is connected to your 8th house. This could also mean that there's major changes in the way that you communicate. So maybe it might mean that you're deciding to go on a meditation retreat where you're not speaking for a week. Maybe you decide that you want to, travel and kind of be in seclusion and you would like to write a memoir, right? There's other things you can do with these energies that are not as scary as maybe the 12th house sounds. I do feel like that Jupiter in your 1st house is going to be helping you. I think that's going to make you more optimistic. And the 12th house is about the collective. So you might feel like, wow, the world's really crazy out there. Like other people are crazy. Like I don't want to kind of deal with that, So you might be really trying to unplug and take time where you're having like social media detoxes, or maybe you're just kind of staying off of electronics, and maybe, some significant changes that can also be happening for you in your bedroom, the 12th house. Hopefully that's helpful. Remember that in order to get through that, you want to work with communication techniques. So journal through the madness, right? Because truth really kind of hides in the haze of the 12th house with this transit. We've got Leo and Leo rising. You guys are going to be experiencing Uranus entering into Gemini in your natal 11th house this summer. This is fun, okay? This is a fun transit, especially because Uranus feels at home in the 11th house because of its connection to Aquarius. So obviously the theme is friends and goals and updates of new networks. Maybe you're joining new networks. Maybe you're, frequently going to parties. Uranus also rules your 7th house. So it can mean that there is this merger of relationships and friendships. If you're single, you're going out, you're meeting people, you're mixing and you're mingling, you might meet somebody significant. Equally, friends can become committed partners can become friends. There can be that flip-flop there. And this can also represent where your dreams are becoming very, like evident to you. Like you're learning to kind of communicate and express what your goals are, what kind of friends you want to have, what you're hoping to achieve, what you want in relationships, all that fun stuff. So it does sextile your sun, moon, or rising, and it is going to be trining at some point Pluto in your 7th. So I think it could make for some really amazing parties. But by the same token, Uranus doesn't always give us what we think it's going to give us. So you can see some of your social circles flip. There can be new allies, but also sudden splits with people, especially when Mercury is retrograding at the time or right after the ingress. It might mean that you're reconnecting with old friends, or you're deciding actually somebody has to go. But focus on your dreams because they're definitely going to jolt awake. And I would say for this transit, you just want to network boldly and really ride the wave of any change that's going on with some of your social circles. Enjoy. We've got Virgo and Virgo rising. What's up, Virgo? I've got my first mutable sign after Gemini. So if you happen to be Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, like the first 3 degrees, you're going to be experiencing a Uranus square. So it definitely represents a pretty big turning point. Uranus going into your 10th house is here to shake up the themes revolving around your career and your status in the world. Well, Uranus rules your 6th house of work, habits, health, routine, and pets. So there's a number of different ways that I could look at this. I think that after this last year of having had Jupiter in your 7th house, you're waking up to just exactly what it is you want to do. If there is a second job opportunity coming your way, if you're hoping to kind of become an entrepreneur, if you want to do your own thing, that has already been kind of brewing, and the Uranus ingress really can make it possible, I think, for you to do that. But I'm predicting job shocks. There could be major job shocks, and maybe you're shocked at something going on with your schedule. Maybe there's something shocking that's happening with your office. Maybe there is new updates, there's new technology, there's new spaces, new people that you are working with as Uranus is connected to the 6th. But also your health can impact the stability of your working career. It can also mean that new developments in technology can be impacting the stability of your career. So some Virgo and Virgo risings are going to go, whoa, like some of these jobs are being replaced because of, these updates and apps and AI and other things that are coming in. But it can also help you guys become more efficient. It can help you guys become more focused and also more productive. Uranus going through this part of your chart, I feel like the theme here is just watch for the changes. Some of you guys might have sudden fame. That's possible with Uranus here. Tech will definitely boost your productivity. And I would just say as a tip, you want to innovate at work, but don't cling to old roles. You know, you've got Gemini midheaven, so this is going to be about wearing more than one hat. You have to be able to do more than one thing. You have to be able to multitask. And even if that means more than one job, it's going to be something that if you want to do it, you just have to make sure your health is straight and you have the time and the schedule to be able to balance both. Good luck. We've got Libra and Libra rising. What's up, Libra? As a fellow Libra rising, I'm like, what is this going to do? So first of all, Uranus going into your 9th house. This is what's going to be happening here. This is a house that deals with positivity, growth, learning, traveling, publishing, teaching, all that fun stuff. And Uranus is associated with your 5th house of love affairs, playtime, creativity, self-expression, children, romance. And if you happen to be like 0 to 3 degrees, you're going to be really benefiting because Uranus will be trining your ascendant and Uranus will be trining Pluto. So you've got Pluto that's influencing transformation to the relationship with yourself through creativity in your heart space. And you've got Uranus that's saying, hey, it's time to pack your bags. We got to go have some fun. Let's do some things. Let's go and learn. Let's see the world. I think for you guys, the themes are going to be about beliefs and radical change in your beliefs. It might mean that, you know, you've always believed one thing and suddenly you believe something different and it's like quick and people are going to be like, whoa, you know, what you've always preached or what you've always practiced, suddenly it's kind of turned on its head. And some of your hobbies might be about education, traveling, that kind of stuff. I do think that what I would watch for though is that, you know, traveling or studies can go off script. That can happen here and it can be very sudden. There can also be some legal curveballs that can hit with Uranus in your 9th house, and it can be over children, involving children, your own business. Maybe you're going to be learning more about speculation, gambling, investing. That's something else that can come up. I would just say for my Libras and my Libra risings, you know, you really want to explore fearlessly and you're going to have to adapt to the unexpected. So if there's unexpected things happening with children, unexpected things happening with school or education, you have to kind of roll with it. And I think for many of you guys, it's actually going to be very beneficial because it's going to help connect you to new groups of people. So it might be that you're meeting people in other places and that's part of the unexpected fun. Good luck. I've got my Scorpio and Scorpio risings. You guys are going to be doing Uranus in your 8th house, a house that's very personal to you, Scorpio. So I bet you're glad to have Uranus out of your 7th house, huh? For those of you guys who have had that or Uranus opposition, it's been a little prickly for relationships, but now Uranus is going into another sign. So something to think about, Scorpio, is that, you know, Gemini has nothing in common with you, all right? So you guys don't see eye to eye about stuff. But when you see Uranus sextile Saturn and Neptune, it's forming a yod, especially to my early degree Scorpio rising sun and moons. You know, for you to change, Scorpio, you have to be willing to change your mind. That's why you have Gemini in the 8th house. Transformations start with your frame of mind. So Uranus is going in there, it's shaking everything up. And Uranus is connected to your 4th house, home, family, property, parents, you know, the ends of situations, your private life. And throughout this transit, you will see Uranus kind of dancing with a trine to Pluto, your chart ruler, which means if you're open for a change in your home and your living situation, if you're willing to, you know, confront some of the family drama, if you're willing to renovate or relocate, it's going to serve you well, and that you will have the funds or you will have the resources or you will get kind of clever with some of your joint resources. Taxes, intimacy, unexpected fluctuations with money definitely happen in this house. And what I'm predicting for you guys is just transformation through shared resources. Now, things like debt and intimacy can shift very fast, and you can see secrets that can spill via tech. The theme here is just to dig deep and use the change to empower yourself and not unravel. I think thankfully the aspects to Pluto really kind of save you guys here. Otherwise, Uranus quincunx your ascendant, especially if you're an early degree, can be really difficult for your physical body and your health. And there could be some mental health challenges that can come with Uranus in this sign. Just wrapping up this transit, I got to tell you, when Uranus goes into this house, you will see a major unexpected change. And it's likely going to be coming from your home or your family or your partner's money, or it can be about inheritance, or it can be about something involving a mortgage. So you just want to kind of keep an eye for that. A lot of you guys will be receiving unexpected, I think, inheritances or like windfalls, and it might be coming through family or property. Okay? Good luck. We've got Sag and Sag rising. What's up, Sag? You ready for this? Get yourself a Scorpio rising, friend, because you have got Uranus going into Gemini in your natal 7th house of relationships, partners, and others. Uranus is associated with the 3rd house, which is communication, writing, contracts, learning, and travel. So with Uranus moving into the 7th, it's taking those themes and it's putting it into relationships. So the theme is about spontaneous, unexpected changes with relationships and partnerships. So you will see relationship jolts, new connections that can spark, and old ones that can fray, okay? And it's not just about your romantic relationships. This is with your siblings, Gemini, it's with your neighbors, it's with your clients. What a great transit to find a new astrologer, to start working with an astrologer, because that's your 7th house, or even a therapist. This might also mean that, you know, there is changes with your relationships to aunts, uncles, cousins, siblings, neighbors, because that's a double dose of that connection to the 3rd house. Communication becomes kind of sporadic with other people. Maybe you're talking about the future, so the future of traveling, of moving, of getting married. There can also be contracts and negotiations, which you're upgrading or you're negotiating. The key here, I think, is to stay open and to balance freedom with commitment. I can just tell you, having gone through this transit, it was a bit wild, and it wasn't really aspecting anything in my 1st house, but you know, Uranus started for me going into the 7th house with ending a long-term relationship. And then over a span of several years, there were several relationships. And then at the end of the transit, it was me getting married. So, you know, it's not unusual for Uranus going into the 7th house. There's like a shock and surprise where somebody shows up. And then as it goes in and out, it's kind of back and forth. And you're going to meet unconventional, unusual, different people. You might meet them on apps or while you're traveling or locally. And then towards the end, you'll see relationships kind of stabilize, and you might find that then you figure out whether or not that relationship is going to stick. Obviously, you know, it's making some nice aspects in your chart. So not only the trine to Pluto, but the sextile to Saturn and Neptune in the 5th house tells me that children or romance or self-love or creativity is definitely impacting Uranus in the 7th. And also because Uranus is connected to your 3rd house, which could be websites, communication, and media, some of you guys might be working with a partner. Some of you guys also might be deciding that you want to offer new content, or you want to be selling things online. And that's like being supported by your new goals for some kind of creative development in your 5th house. Good luck. Let me know how that goes for you guys. We've got Capricorn and Capricorn rising. What's up, Cappies? Uranus is going into Gemini in your natal 6th house. And it's in a sign that in conjuncts or quincunxes you. So similar to Scorpio, you guys don't have a lot in common. And Uranus going through the 6th house is sometimes a bit tricky. So Uranus going through this house is going to be bringing up themes revolving around work, health, pets, changes with your schedule, or with your coworkers. Uranus is associated with money, personal possessions, as well as resources and self-esteem, what you eat, what you consume, what you spend money on. So it could mean that for a lot of you guys that this is about routines flipping, okay? So there could be tech hacks or sometimes health stuff that comes up that kind of shakes you up. It might mean you're investing more in mental health practices. Maybe you're investing in going to a gym. Maybe you're wanting to network with people who are into wellness. It could also mean that you're deciding that you're going to become like a gig worker, or you're wanting to become an entrepreneur, or you're wanting to work more independently or more sporadically. You want to watch health matters that are connected to the lungs, the hands, the shoulders, as well as breathing. And there could be some changes in regards to the food that you're consuming. Work can be inconsistent, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to materialize as a job loss. I think it's just going to be about a change with your schedule. And I think the key here is just to experiment daily and really focus on, you know, being flexible, not being rigid, especially because if it's aspecting your Capricorn sun, moon, or rising with the first couple of degrees, It can show you where there is some kind of stress that's impacting your body, and that's because you're adapting to some kind of new health or lifestyle routine. Walking, cycling, biking, right? Stretching, all of these things can be really helpful for you. And I do think a lot of you guys are going to be investing more in your health and possibly even taking on a second job if you feel well enough to do so. Good luck. Oh, one other thing, Capricorn. It is sextiling your Sun and your Saturn and your Neptune transit down here. So because Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, a lot of you guys are going to go, oh, I'm working from home. Now I need a home office. Or now I'm investing in a home business. Or now I'm going to be doing something where I'm making money also from home. So it's not necessarily negative. It is supported by some of the things that you're wanting to do here, especially if you're involved in like design, building, architecture, renovations, flips, anything like that. It can be great for you. Good luck. We've got Aquarius and Aquarius rising. What's up, Aquarius? Your chart ruler's on the move. We have got your planet, Uranus, going into Gemini in your natal 5th house. So wherever Uranus goes is where you go. Same thing with Saturn, but thankfully they're aspecting one another. So I think it's going to be, smoother sailing for you, especially with this Pluto transit. Man, that probably has been one of my favorite Uranus transits so far. I haven't had too many because I'm not that old yet, but just reflecting on the last couple of transits in my chart and kind of correlating it, giving you guys advice. This is fun. This is a really fun transit. It doesn't really matter how old you are. When Uranus goes through the 5th house, you want to party, you want to be creative, you want to fall in love, you want to have a good time, you want to play. So these are things that I think you're going to enjoy, especially considering Uranus will be in a trine to Pluto in your 1st house. So this does seem to symbolize you're going through a lot of personal changes, identity changes, you're maybe going through changes in relationships, maybe you're going through changes in your career because Pluto's connected to that. And now you're ready to cut loose and create. This could also mean that there are shocks and surprises, okay, with creativity and romance. So art or love turns wild. There can be sudden flings or genius projects that you could ignite. Unexpected pregnancies can definitely happen here. Creative writing is definitely a theme, or like writing memoirs or working with children, teaching children. Something that's like party or kind of entertainment based might be coming up. I would just say play with abandon and let inspiration rule. And if you're somebody who's single, this could definitely be a time where you're meeting somebody who's different and unusual in an unexpected way. Could be on an app or while you're traveling. And this could also mean that you're really committed to something new in the area of Aries in your chart. Writing a book, right? Publishing a blog, starting a website or a YouTube channel, and that this is part of the way that you create, that you share with other people. Be careful with gambling and anything speculative or anything like that in the markets. I think that can be definitely a significant shift. And I'm predicting for a lot of Aquarius or Aquarius risings, it's going to be shifts in relationships as right around the time Uranus ingresses, Mercury is going to turn retrograde. So there's going to be some kind of shift in a relationship. You might be realizing you're in love with somebody and you're telling them that. You might be talking about getting married. This could also mean that you're finding out that you're experiencing some major change in an existing relationship. Especially if you have children, shocks and surprises can happen there, or this can be foreshadowing some Aquarius risings are going to have their 2nd kid. Good luck. And last but not least, we have Pisces and Pisces rising. What's up, Pisces? You're going to be experiencing Uranus going into your natal 4th house and your immutable sign. So if you have anything 0 to about 3 degrees of Pisces, sun, moon, or rising, Uranus is going to be squaring you. So it does kind of feels a little bumpy. But Uranus traditionally rules your 12th house, which is the subconscious mind. Okay, so like I said, all the water signs are dealing with this happening in water houses, so to say. So the shocks and surprises are more emotional. They're more private. It's more with your home life, your family secrets, sudden moves, especially changes going on with electricity in the home, or changes going on with like communication, or maybe visits, or even like moving to another country, right? Because Uranus is connected to the 12th. It could be that there is a sudden ending with a family member or a sudden change in your home and you're going back and forth between 2 places. You may benefit from being flexible with your home situation. And I think you're already kind of seeing that with having had Saturn square Jupiter, that maybe you've been experiencing traveling and checking places out. Now you're getting ready to decide where you're going to go. But the themes of the fourth house, home roots, you know, your family, and I'm predicting that there could be moves or family ties that shift very quickly. Introducing new tech into your home space, maybe some kind of communal living, getting a roommate, living with a sibling, maybe buying a property that's got, you know, two separate homes on it. That could be like the communal aspect of Uranus in the fourth house. And I think really this is about reinventing your home base, and you got to ride it out because yes, there will be some upheaval. But with trines to Pluto, I feel like a lot of you guys are going to benefit from going somewhere that's very diverse, that has like a lot of culture or maybe another language, or maybe you're playing with the idea of living bi-coastally or going back and forth between two places. So you have a place that's going to be more social and interactive, and then you're going to have another place that's going to be a little bit more like your fortress to kind of rest and you know, retreat into. So hopefully that's helpful in giving you some insight. Obviously, I look forward to unpacking this further as we get closer to the summer of 2025. For many of you guys, I know that you're already starting to see some of these changes coming in because Jupiter is in Gemini. So let this transit kind of give you some insight as to what maybe you're looking into, what you're venturing into, what you're optimistic about. And I think this change is actually going to kind of kick that off. So for 2025 to 2032, this is definitely going to be a wake-up call. Obviously, in this sign, it's mind-bending, and it's going to be shifting all of our perspectives, whether that's from tech or to stormy debates. Just keep in mind this will have a little bit of chaos with a purpose. But the question is, how are you guys going to harness this rebel energy? Drop your rising sign below. Let me know what you're anticipating and what you're feeling. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments section. As always, I appreciate your likes, your comments, and your shares. Any interaction really helps the channel grow. And make sure you hit that subscription button so you can follow along with the other videos that I'm going to be doing. I still have to do Jupiter in Cancer, so that's one of the last ones that we're going to be doing before we complete these series. Where the future looks bright, guys. Be positive and optimistic about these changes. They're coming fast, and I will make sure I have more videos coming your way. So until next time, I'll see you all very soon. You guys take care.